Welcome to Dream Vacations with Lori and Greg Schuss. If you love to travel, our team of travel advisors are here to help you plan that special vacation, whether it's a cruise, a tour, a resort, or even a luxury villa. We bring the best vacation experts on our show, so sit back and enjoy today's podcast from Dream Vacations.
Welcome back, listeners, viewers. What is going on over there? We got Laurie and Greg Shush, and is it cold over there?
No.
Are you on a cruise in the Antarctic? Or
well, we can talk about Antarctica, but today we are very fortunate to have a very special guest with us, Andy Fuentes from Atlas Ocean Voyages, and today we're going to talk about expedition cruising. So I've gotten my scarf on, and I've got my binoculars and my hat, and I am ready to go to Antarctica.
And I'm freezing because I didn't bring mine.
I am too.
Andy, thanks so much for joining us today. We're so glad to have you.
Greg, Laura, thank you very much for having me. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Oh, my goodness. So I'm going to start us off with Greg, you use that word expedition. What's the deal on expedition cruises versus your average everyday cruise?
That's a great question. And coming from the big ocean liners, I mean, I've actually started my career in big ocean liners, and the term expedition, honestly, it was a new term for me, and I heard about it maybe like 10 years ago or something like that. And to define that answer, I would say that, big cruises is defined by what was there to do on board. The big cruise lines have maybe, flashy shows, casinos on board, bars and lounges galore, rock climbing walls, a lot of pools, etc. It's the itinerary. The itinerary is the ship. An expedition, though, the itinerary is actually what you do offshore. So instead of highlighted excursions, it's more like really deep into the weeds, and like the word of expedition per se is immersion. Get immersed in these beautiful countries or remote areas like Antarctica that we'll be visiting.
Wow. So you actually go to Antarctica?
We do. We actually step foot in Antarctica.
Wow. Yeah. What other areas do you do these in?
So we have these three. So Atlas Ocean Voyages is a true 365-day expedition cruise line, and every single itinerary is an expedition, and each expedition is in one of three categories, which is the polar expedition. These are remote areas. These are as Greg saw, with the binoculars and the beanies and the parkas, these are remote areas that you cannot get to with the big ships. And what's cool about Antarctica, not only that you do zodiacs and you see penguins and whales and seals, is if you're a true adventurer, you can actually camp one night in Antarctica, as in sleeping bags, tents, the whole nine. But we also go to the Arctic. And the Arctic, I feel it's like a continuation of Alaska. A lot of folks ask me, well, I've done it on Alaska. I've done Denali, I've done Ketchikan, Mount McKinney, I've done Anchorage, Talkeetna, on and on and on. Where should I go next? Well, actually, the Arctic will be a great second. I say Alaska Part 2. And the reasons why I say that is when I went to Alaska, I thought I would see more wildlife. I would see more nature, right? And you do see it. It's a bit more dense populated, but in the Arctic, you get that and more. And I'm talking about Iceland, Greenland, Norway, up to Longyearbyen. That's where you see the mighty polar bears. You see walruses, etc. But I think let's get out of the cold a little bit. I'm here in South Florida, and it's cold and us sometimes don't mix. It's a little bit warmer. Talk about Epicurean expedition. Talk about the Mediterranean. And Epicurean expedition, you're with a chef and a visiting vintner the entire time. They're the tour guides. Okay.
Wow.
And then we also have cultural expedition, which is a little bit of everything, learning dances, history, learning the arts. And these are more like Caribbean sailings. These are more like North European sailings. We're going to announce other countries here in the future, like Africa, like the Seychelles, Madagascar, like the Indian Ocean, and then other areas here in the near future.
Yeah, I'm always afraid, especially in the Arctic or Antarctica, to get on one of those zodiacs. It looks a little flimsy to me. I'm like, if you're getting off the boat, do you actually have to leap into the zodiac, or are people there to help you? Or first of all, have people actually missed the zodiac and gone in the water?
They see the zodiac, they're with the penguins, like, bye, I'll see you. No, actually, one of the things I love about, and great, Greg, that you bring that up. One of the things that I love about our ships is that we do have a lot of people there to assist you. Because definitely you don't jump on the zodiac, actually you step on the zodiac. So we do have steps for you, and kind of a bigger platform for you to get onto the zodiac. And again, a zodiac, it's not steady. You're not stepping onto concrete. You're stepping onto a smaller boat. So we do have people that are there in the stairs to help you, in the stairwell that you can bring down to the zodiac there to help you. But it's once you sit down, you're okay. You're good. And what I like about the zodiacs in Antarctica, for example, yeah, they actually will take you into the glaciers and these beautiful landings. And yes, you are going to step foot in Antarctica. You are going to see where the penguins, where they live, the habitat, etc. You're going to see all these beautiful landscape. You will be there, with your parkas and beanies and walking sticks. You're going to see everything. But also think about the warm water. Like warm water, what do you do with zodiacs? Well, think about going to these really remote areas that you can't get to with a tender. You have to go in with a zodiac. Sometimes you do like extra fun stuff. I'm not going to spoil the surprise. You have to be there to see what things we do. But we take the zodiacs also in warmer water climates.
Great.
So, Andy, not everyone might be familiar with the zodiac, or for that matter, the average size of the groups. Like, how many people fit into a zodiac, and also what is that average size of these excursions that you do?
So they're fairly something. So let's go back. One of the things that I forgot to mention, Charlie, was that the difference between ocean cruising and expedition cruising. So ocean cruise, you're talking about good like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 to even 6,000, and now there's a 10,000 passenger ship right now.
Wow.
For expedition, you're talking about 300, 200.
Yeah.
Something around that ballpark area, about 200 to 300, something like that. Atlas Ocean Voyages is 200 passengers, no more than 200 passengers. So these excursions, you're talking about maybe 6 people, 10 people.
Really?
So they're more intimate. And I'm talking about not just Antarctica. I'm talking about the other places that we go as well. You're talking about a 10-person group, maybe 15 or 6 or 4. It all depends on what you want to do, but they are more intimate. And what's great about it, the thing I love the best about yacht cruising, and this is what this is you can get on the ship in 15 minutes, you can get off the ship in 15 minutes.
Wow.
And that's fantastic. That to me, I mean, I don't like the longer lines. And I'm sorry, and I want to get to my stateroom, put my stuff down, and get my first cocktail. That's just
You get your vacation on. I love it. I love it. So, are there then different ships depending on where you go, or?
No, actually, no. We have the same style of ship. We have 3 ships right now in the fleet. By the end of 2027, hopefully we should have 6. I mean, that's the plan. That's our goal. We should have 6. We have 6 ships on around our fleet, and as we grow, we're going to extend our itineraries. So I'm not saying that we're going to have this. I'm saying that just use your imagination. We have Epicurean expedition in Japan, Epicurean expedition in Africa, cultural expedition in Australia, in Tahiti, in Bali, so forth and so on. As we grow, we're going to go to these very unique remote places. And And to that, they're all the same size. They're 438 feet, 10,000 tons, and again, no more than 200 passengers. And everybody around the ship is going to get to know you. You're going to have we have actually public spaces, social spaces that are very big. Stateroom size also double the size of any stateroom in our bigger ships. And to be honest, it feels like you're on a cruise, like a big cruise, but it's not. It's a yacht. And to talk to your neighbor, to get to know everybody, to form that community, that's what we're all about.
Yeah.
What kind of amenities can our guests expect when they go on one of your ships in the expeditions?
A very great question, Lori. So our ships, we're basically all included. There are some stuff that are not included, but they're all included. So with the price you see, and obviously we give the deals to our great partners like Lori and Greg. They're the ones who get our exclusive deals. Your amenities would include your prepaid gratuities, your alcohol, all your drinks are included. And folks, we're not talking about you get 2 drinks here, 2 drinks there, and we'll cut you off. No, it's whatever you want. So wine, cocktails, whatever you want, and beers. We even have a mini bar in our staterooms, and this mini bar is fully complimentary.
It's really cold down in the Arctic, up in the Arctic and down in Antarctica. Do we get any kind of coat or something to keep us warm?
Yes. So everybody receives the parkas. So everybody receives the parkas on the ship when you get to the polar expedition. On the Epicurean expedition, we're not going to give you parkas because it's hot. But we are going to give you olive oil delivered to your house with a backpack. So you get all that Epicurean expedition, all the things you have learned in your Epicurean expedition, you can apply it back when you get home.
Oh, that's awesome.
Awesome.
Nice. Very good.
Love it. How about?
I have a question also. What's your level of accessibility in terms of those that are handicapped clients?
So this is a very touchy subject, and I would do my very best. So kind of like a river cruise. And I use that because that's what probably most people are familiar with. Kind of river cruise, there are some places, majority of our places, it's a little bit uneven, a lot of cobblestones, a lot of walking. We do have accessible staterooms on our ships. We do have them, but they're very few. They don't have the wide door. And again, our ships, it's not a big ship, so you can't go with scooters, etc. So we recommend folks that have either are fully mobile or slightly limited mobility. Definitely, take a look at it. Someone that does not, we have a lot more options out there. A lot of other options are out there to visit the Antarctic, the Arctic, etc. But again, I'm just being realistic. I'm being something here that what we like to tell our guests is, hey, you need to, the minimum you need to do is 2 things. One, you need to get on and off our gangway without any assistance. And you also need to step onto the Zodiacs, again, with very light assistance. So that's the one thing we tell our guests.
But what about the intimate yacht style cruises, Andy? What can you tell us about that?
So one thing is that this is my favorite part. It's actually, I had a lot of things to talk about this one because this is honestly what makes Atlas Atlas.
Okay.
So a lot of people right now in the market, if you don't know about yacht and expedition and river, you're used to the big ships. This is your first time kind of dabbling, hearing something about this, or you're a veteran. You actually gone on a yacht, gone on a river, and hopefully an expedition. So we are basically a hybrid of yacht style cruising and an expedition. And on the ship, you're going to have, again, the yacht style feeling, as in 1-to-1 service. So we usually have about 200 guests. We're going to have around 200 crew. So that's 1-to-1, that's the great service. Our stateroom size also larger. So a regular stateroom on a cruise ship is 185 square feet. Our stateroom start at 270 square feet.
Wow.
Excellent.
Options with restaurants, everything is yacht casual. There's only one restaurant you have to make a reservation. The remainder of the restaurants you don't. There's no 6 p.m. dining. There's any 8 p.m. dining. It is basically when you want to dine, you can come in and we'll sit you down. Again, because it's 200 passengers. The expedition part is, again, we're looking for that active traveler. And when I say active traveler, folks, I don't want you to think you have to run a marathon to go on a cruise or go on a bike or something like that. An active traveler means that you don't want to be just on the ship. You want to get out there, explore, discover, and get immersed on these wonderful areas that we're going to visit, whether it be in the cold environment or the warmer environment. So that's what yacht expedition means. It basically, I like to use this term, you're in the Luxpedition. Beautiful ships, first class service, but you are going to get out there, roll your sleeves, and either A, you might kayak in the glaciers, you might go camping in Antarctica, or do the polar plunge, or you know what, you're going to see and actually cook a paella for yourself. You're going to taste olives and make olive oil, so forth and so on. So we want you to get engaged when you're out there.
Great.
Yeah. So one of the things I wanted to ask is, so do you have like naturalists or people that are actually part of the crew, or do they come on board in whatever location that the ship is going to?
So that's a great question. We do have lectors and naturalists, and our expedition team, for example, in Antarctica, it's there for the entire season. So usually in Antarctica, our guest count goes down to 176 or so, and we have 20 expedition team. That makes the 200, and they're there the entire season from November all the way through the end of March. So we announce our expedition team early in the season and tell you their credentials, and they're the ones that actually will take you basically by the hand and be your tour guides for your sailing. In Antarctica, we have 9 days, 11 days, or 18 plus day itineraries, and that's all dependent on what you want to do. You want to do the short landings, and landings, by the way, that's what we call ports of call. They're not called ports of call; they're called landings. 11-day, you're going to cross the Antarctic Circle. Okay, so it's going to be, we were there in the summer, so folks, there's not a sunset. It's going to be day all the time. And then 18-day plus, that's the full-on Antarctica experience. It's full bells and whistles. You're going to go past the Antarctic Circle. You're going to go to different islands like the Falkland Islands, St. George's Island, to name a few. So that's kind of the type of itineraries that we do. In the Arctic, we do Longyearbyen, we go from Longyearbyen to Iceland, we do Greenland, we do Norway, and we have sailings in the fall, because if you want to see the Northern Lights, yes, definitely you want to go closer to the fall as you can.
Wow. Sounds like a winter, guys. I tell you, and I am not a fan of the cold, but boy, it's, how many people have that on their bucket list, right? To go to Antarctica, for example. And
nowadays, a lot more people than you would expect.
Yeah.
There's a lot of questions, a lot of phone calls about people wanting more information about those.
Talk about a trip of a lifetime, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it is. And it's just the views. Like, this is the cleanest air you're going to breathe. This is honestly the beautiful thing. And I like about Antarctica, and again, this is not talking about us, but all of the cruise lines that go deep into Antarctica, they're very sustainable. So one of the things that all of us have in mind is we do not want to disturb the environment. You definitely want to keep it, hands off. We're there only to look. We're like a store. We like to look, not to touch. We just want to, observe the environment as it is right now. Take it all in, because you're right. This is I call it a life list, a life list item that you want to do. Like, I'm going to Antarctica next month, and I'm taking my friends with me, and my friends have done 6 continents. This will be their 7th, and it is before 40 years old. So when I say that the demand is there, definitely the people want to go to these beautiful places.
So, do you think you'll ever add the Galapagos to your itineraries?
You have to stay tuned.
Ooh.
Teaser. Open the loop.
A teaser, yeah.
That's great. Well, Andy, thank you for sharing. That was, you got my mind going. And, what I love about these podcasts is that, and, for Laurie and Greg, it's old hat. They've been everywhere and
We haven't been there.
But yeah, and to be able to get to hear one that I didn't even know there were cruises to Antarctica. I don't get out much. All right, I admit it. And all the other places you go to. So, man, thanks for sharing.
You know who to call when you're ready.
Yeah. Please do, right? We give them the deal. So definitely something that if you're ready, if you want to at least start the conversation, definitely call Laurie and Greg, because again, we give them the deals. There's just one little thing I just want to say, kind of my little public service announcement. Again, we're doing all this to educate you that there is other options out there. It's not just with the big ships. Big ships are great, fantastic, but there are other options out there. But once you go into more intimate cruising, I promise you probably will never go back.
Yeah, going
Great.
back. Love it. Well, speaking of you guys helping your listeners and viewers, Laurie and Greg, why don't you share the best way to get in touch?
You can call us at 239-603-6040 or look us up on the web at bonitaspringstravel.com.
Terrific.
From you. Andy, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
It's been
It is
awesome.
my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.
Thank
All
you.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Dream Vacations. To learn more about our travel business, go to bonitaspringstravel.com or you can call us at 239-603-6040. Again, that's 239-603-6040. Let's make your dream vacation come true.